My name is Greta Engelbrecht. I am senior counsel at the Johannesburg Bar, practicing from Group 1, formerly Sandown Village, but these days into Pybus Road in Sandton. If I wonder about how I got here, it's quite amazing. I was the daughter of a farm manager and a cook. And at 13, I said, I want to be an advocate and I will write books in my spare time. I didn't know then that advocates don't have spare time. I don't quite know how I came up with it. I think my only older female cousin said she wanted to study law, and I just wanted to do anything that she wanted to do, and that's what inspired me. The reality is she turned out to be a doctor. But the story stuck. And in high school, I had a knack for languages. I did Afrikaans, English, Xhosa, and German as 4 of my subjects. And I suppose I did a lot of debating, and I thought, okay, well, this is what I need to do. Also, I couldn't do maths, so I couldn't do any of the sciences. And that's how my story stuck. And I had wonderful people around me, people who supported me. I got an opportunity when I was at Stellenbosch University to go to an exchange in Aberdeen. And Alan Nelson, who was then senior counsel at the Cape Bar, told me there's this new thing called competition law, and you should really try and see if you can do a course in that while you're in Scotland. And so I did. And then I came and I joined Deneys Rates Attorneys, as it then was, these days Norton Rose Fulbright. And I started in the competition department after a bit, and that really was then my destiny. But I always had this idea in the back of my mind that I wanted to go to the bar. And I learned that they were going to change pupillage from 6 months to a year. And I was never going to be able to afford to do pupillage for a whole year and go without an income. So the decision was made for me, and I had to go then. I had just recently got married, and I was very afraid that I wouldn't make it. My husband kept on saying every night as I walked in the door of our apartment, "Did you resign today?" And every night I said no, until one day I said yes, and I think he got the shock of his life. But I went to the bar because I decided not to be fearful. If it didn't work out, I'd go back, but I had to try it for myself, and I did. And what a privilege it's been. I once did training, advocacy training with Justice Krechler, and he told the pupils how he couldn't believe that he was being paid every day to go into chambers and to do exactly that which he loved. And I suppose that's my story. I can't believe that I have been so privileged. When I started out in my early days at the bar, there was one occasion where I sat together with 2 very prominent senior counsel, Martin Brassey and Jeremy Gauntlet. And they were debating a point, and I realized here I'm sitting, I've got a ringside seat to 2 great legal minds, just because I'm in this profession, because I'm a junior. And then of course you grow up and you become the senior. You become the person people want to sit with and maybe debate interesting points. And it's just one wonderful privilege to do it. And you have an opportunity to make change. I did a lot of competition law. I still do a lot of competition law. But your practice also changes, and I've done a lot of work in labour law, in constitutional law. And that's where you really see where you can change people's lives. Not you, but through your intervention things can happen. And it's not always a good story. I acted eventually for Renata Barnard, a white policewoman who didn't get promotions. We fought all the way to the Constitutional Court, and there she lost. But she went on to make changes in different ways because of that story. In the case of Mr. Christopher February and some 9 others, we also fought all the way to the Constitutional Court in relation to employees of the Department of Correctional Services who didn't get promotions on the basis that coloured people were overrepresented in those posts in the Western Cape. Got the picture of Mr. February hugging me in the Constitutional Court as we won. And I cherish that always, because there we did get justice for the particular individuals. Carry on. The other hard losses, Mr. Yannick Musa, who's an asylum seeker, who studied medicine and whom the department wouldn't place as an intern. We fought very long and hard. Eventually he got a placement, although during the whole of the COVID years he didn't get any remuneration for working in Chris Hani Baragwanath Hospital. Hard stories, but also good stories about good people who stood up against injustice. And that, I suppose, is why I really, really love what I do. Recently, when we were celebrating Salomé Leroux's 25 years in practice, she spoke about what it was like being a woman in practice. I was naive enough to not realize when I started out that it was supposed to be hard for women. When I was in Standard 9 and I told somebody I was going to study law, they said, "Oh, that's not a place for women," or "There are really too many lawyers." And I, with all the naivety of a Standard 9 student, said, "Well, then I'd just better be the best." And I see people like Salomé, and I think that's exactly the inspiration. Those of us who are stupid enough not to know that we're not supposed to be here. Those of us who are stupid enough to believe that we can make a difference. And then you go out and you just do what you do. And your family, especially if you're a woman lawyer, your family pays a price. But as we celebrate 100 years of women in law this year, I just know that we weren't wrong to think this is where we belong. It is exactly where we belong. It is where we can make a difference, and where we do make a difference, and where we love what we do. And that's why Salomé Leroux attorneys, to me, is such an important hallmark of where we can be if you put your heart into it and you really just go about it every day without fear. Thank you.